I gotta make a video. I gotta make a video. Oh my gosh. What are you doing? Oh. Playing Persona? Okay, cool, but you haven't made a video. Yeah, so quite a long time? Yeah, maybe you want to get on that? Yeah, but see what happened was 2020 sucked and then 2021 happened. See, I get that, but and I'm lazy. You still gotta make a video. It's been a while. I would really much rather just play Persona. Honestly, that sounds like a lot more fun to me. Alright, look here. Just stop being lazy. Alright, just make the video already. Like, got it. Yes. Oh my god. Right. Okay. I'm going back to bed. Just make the video. Just do it already. Sorry about that. Holy crap. It's February. Hello there everybody, Hounder64 here.
Back with another video.
And today, we are talking about the tried and true, the boys, the homies who keep giving gifts that just keep on giving. I'm talking about Neural DSP. That's right, boys. We have another Neural DSP product we're gonna review, but we're not talking about this Neural DSP product. We're talking about this Neural DSP product. Neural DSP hates me and won't give me free product! Today we are not going to be talking about the Quad Cortex, we are going to be talking about the Archetype Nolly. And I've actually been wanting to talk about this plugin for quite a while. So I believe I've had this product close to maybe like 7 or 8 months now. And so I'm pretty used to it. I've learned the ins and outs. I've learned what makes her tick, what makes her engine purr, if you will. And I believe it's finally time to go through and take a deep dive into this puppy. So let's see what we got going here. Hello. Do you suffer from having an amp that's just way too heavy? It's just way too heavy. Do you suffer from not knowing what cables to plug in where? Where do all these cables go? And do you suffer from having a bedroom gent project and you are actually every single member in the band? Oh, come on, dude. Really? Wow. Come on, man. Really? That's not cool. Yo, that's bullshit. Yeah, what he said. Come on. Well, fear not, because I have a product for you. Archetype Nolly. Archetype Nolly, it's the plugin. It's everything. You take your guitar, you put it in an interface, and then you play songs, and that's it. It's done. Woo! Easy. Simple. Why haven't we been funding this technology from the start? We are going to be using the Ibanez S6UC. I have the cable plugged in. It is literally going straight to my interface right now. If you want, I will. Here is my DI. I will play you something beautiful.
Oh yeah, baby, that's taste.
So as you can hear, it is literally my guitar just going straight in the interface, and then we are gonna go through and reamp it through Archetype Nolly. So right away, looking at Archetype Nolly, it's a pretty clean UI user interface. The main difference I've noticed between this one and Archetype Pliny is that for some reason the Archetype Nolly does not come with a tuner. What the heck, DSP?
Why?
Like anytime I want to tune my guitar, I now have to get up, grab a tuner, put it on my guitar, tune it. You know how much easier it was just to tune it through the app? It was easy.
That's a D! That's a D!
Let's go ahead and go through these panels. So the first panel is actually going to be your pedal board. I call this pedal board 1. This is all the effects that are going to go before your amp head. So you're going to go, and it's in order, by the way, as well. So you're going to go from guitar. So you're going basically guitar into compressor, into overdrive, into delay, into overdrive 2. Now, of course, all of these are off. And if they're on, they have the little purple light there, as you can see. We're gonna move on to the next part, which is the amp head section. Now, this is actually pretty cool because if you see down here in the bottom, there are actually 4 different amp heads and 4 different cabs. So you can actually go ahead and take this link off, and that allows you to switch them freely, or you can keep them together, and it is the suggested amp head and cab going together. So as you can see, it switches not only the amp head, but also the cab down here. Same thing on this, same thing on this. This amp here is your clean amp, this is your crunch amp, this is your rhythm amp, and this is your lead amp. After that, we're going to move over here where we are on the graphic equalizer, and this is going to hit after your amp head going into your cabinet. So it's affecting your distortion as well as the pedals that are going in before that. So just keep that in mind when you're doing this sort of thing. And then after that, we have our cabinet and our microphone options. You have the option of dual miking, single miking, as well as your distance and your position. And you have the level, pan, phase, all sorts of things like that, as well as your microphone collection that you can use to simulate these amps. At the very end, you have the post-processing, which is going to be your delay and your reverb coming out of the amp into here. Now, I think, and I'm not 100% sure on this, that this section here kind of acts like more of a pedal board than it does as a post-processing. And what I mean by that is it's more of these 2 pedals entering the effects loop on your amp head going out into the cabinet than it is from like capturing the cabinet sound and then feeding them into here. I'm not 100% sure on that as the chain, but from what I've messed with and what I've experienced, that seems to be the way that this works. So let's go ahead and get in and actually see what all this stuff sounds like and what it does. Alright, so right here, this is the default. It's pretty standard. It's a pretty nice and easygoing type of distortion, very middle of the road, chuggy. So the one thing I notice about this, especially this channel here, is the gain on it is not particularly harsh. That's one thing I've noticed. So like if I take the gain down, like let's go down to like 2 and play something. So you see what I mean? So even though the gain's at 2, there's still quite a lot of gain being compressed on there. And then if you take the gain, let's go up just to 10 as an extreme. The master is kind of weird on this one because you have the master and you have the level. I'm pretty sure the master is more closely linked to the gain, whereas you're kind of pushing the amp the higher the master is going. So as you can see on the master, you're pushing the amp more than you're actually pushing the level, because I believe the level stays relatively the same whether master's on 10 or if master's on like 5. Yeah, it seems like you're just pushing the amp. Resonance is one of those things where you're just pushing the low end a lot more, so it's a bit more of that bubbly kind of whoop 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 kind of sound. Presence, of course, is the high end kind of shreddy tone. So that's all there. And then the level actually affects your level. I'm almost 100% sure. So this is it on 10. Yep. And then bringing it down to like 2 or 1, I guess. Yeah, see? So when you do get into this, just keep in mind master affects your actual gain, amp push and level affects your actual level. I've noticed that one big thing on the Archetype Nolly, and I'm not sure if this is a problem with it, like the way I have it set up, is that every time I use one of the preset starter settings, the volume, it's extremely low for me. I'm not entirely sure why. That was something I ran into a lot of. And then like say default. So that's like default, and then this is the Blood Eagle. Like it's a good like 2 to 3 dB, like just quieter. I'm not entirely sure why it does that. So this is one lead I use. And then the other one is a more kind of extreme 80s kind of shred, which is here called Liquid Shred. And this gives me more John Petrucci type of vibes. Now, how does this sound in a mix? I'm glad you asked, because I actually recently used this on something that you guys might want to check out. Oh yeah, it's the Christmas album. Listen to the album, or don't. It doesn't really matter to me, but the link's right there if you want to go ahead and check it out. I had two different rhythms, as I said before. I had a rhythm high as well as a rhythm low. And for the rhythm high, I ended up using this Modern Misery fixed patch, as well as this Archetype Nolly Blood Eagle patch as my low. As you can see here, I did boost the output a little bit while keeping the master of the amp a little bit lower, just because I didn't want too much push or pull, because I was using quite a lot of gain for this. And I ended up using a little bit of EQ here. So first I did have it running through this sidechain to kind of catch palm mutes. These were a bit of the EQ settings that I use. It's not anything too crazy. I did experiment with a couple of different notches. Like I had a notch here also, and I also had a notch that was about here. So originally this is what all of my EQs looked like all together to get the Modern Misery patch to kind of play well with what I wanted to do. Eventually I just went back and said these are probably the two that are bothering me the most in the full mix. And then I threw it all through this API compressor. I believe this is the 2500. And if you want, you can steal these settings. I actually stole these settings from Taylor Larson. Thank you, Taylor. So I ended up throwing it into the J37 with the mastering high frequency smoothing round bottom setting, which basically means that all those high-end like 10K kind of hissy whistly tones, I went through and did some tape saturation on it to make it feel a little bit smoother, as well as making the bottom round out a bit more and play nicer with my bass guitar, which I was not using really heavy compression, or not heavy compression, really heavy distortion on, so it sounded like more of the guitars. And those two settings together, they sound a bit like this. So that's the very genty section. I can play something a bit more chorusy. So this is a bit more openy chorus, high note kind of thing that I like to do a lot of. So like I said, I do enjoy using a lot of gain on my patches. I can always go back, dial the gain back down, which I know a lot of modern metal guitar guys do. And with that, it's going to sound a bit cleaner, especially on the chorus end. It's going to sound like this. So that's going to give it a lot more kind of that clarity kind of sound with the low end of the Blood Eagle mixed with the high end of the Modern Misery. I also had my bass patch. The bass patch isn't anything crazy. It's not the super distorted tone you're used to. It's just this. Nothing crazy at all, but when you put it together with the guitars, it kind of rounds it out and gives it that nice fuller sound. And then of course, when you throw the drums in there, that just brings the whole mix together. And this is pretty much what the whole entire thing sounds like when you have the Archetype Nolly, or Archetype Nolly, in the mix with everything else. And so there you go. That's pretty much everything right there. So right now you can actually go ahead and get Archetype Nolly for, looks like $160 right now. It is produced by pretty much the man himself, Nolly. 4 amps are going to be included, 4 pre-effects, which are going to be the pedals before, EQ, time effects at the end, as well as cabs. It is actually very nice. You can use it literally anywhere. If you have a laptop and it is powerful enough, you could even write songs on the go. I would highly suggest it. I think it is definitely worth the money. It's a very good investment, especially if you are just a musician who's on the go, or you always want to try to write your ideas down, but you don't always have your full function studio with you. This is a great way to get those tones without having to lug a giant amp with you absolutely everywhere. I don't know why I put it back there. There is no amp back there. So I've been Howner64. I hope that this was a helpful in-depth review of the Archetype Nolly plugin. I'm probably going to try to do a bit more reviews in the future if I can, but let me guys know if you guys want any type of gear reviewed, if you want me to go into any in-depth mixing analysis, any sort of thing like that, we can always cover on the channel. It is no problem here. I will see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.
Ho, ho, ho! Merry Christmas!